I literally read it so many times. I'm reading it backwards now.
I think this is a good note for everybody out there.
He says that I don't pull well on TikTok, so
He doesn't. This
Doing
is
videos
just a
with
fact.
me.
It just doesn't pull well. It's called social media for a reason, and it's not selfish media.
I just gotta clear something up. You weren't the 12th man on the field.
There is no easy way to get anything ever.
This is Mornings with Matt, the Daring Acting Studio podcast, where we discuss the connection between life and acting.
Alrighty, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Mornings with Matt show on the Daring Acting Studio podcast. I am Matt here with Brian and Joey.
What up, what up, what up?
Hello.
We got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about being unshakable. How to be unshakable, why that's important. So we're going to talk about what does it mean to be unshakable? How are you going to be unshakable in business? How can you be unshakable in your acting? And of course, since acting connects to life, we get to talk about
Life.
how being unshakable is going to help you in life.
Which,
you know, it's this is a part of life. Part of life is the obstacles, is the distractions, is the mess, the noise. And so we want to figure out how to be centered during that time. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So, Braga, can we hop into our daily devotional, please, sir?
Yes, sir.
it's time now for Brian Sweeney's Daily
Daily
Devotional.
Devotional.
Daily Devotional. That was not Holy Spirit, amen.
We got to come up with something like that.
Dude, God loved that. God was like, that was a sweet intro.
Angels were singing in heaven in that
I
one.
almost said dope intro, but I'm like, God wouldn't say that.
Yes, I mean. All right, so our verse today is Hebrews 12:28. It says, "Therefore, let us be grateful for receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken. And thus let us offer to God acceptable worship with reverence and awe."
Nice. Very good. Well, I want to say good morning real quick to Matt Siebert, Astrid, Gabriel. Saw you online there. Welcome to the show.
Woo!
Good to see our friends here tuning in. So, Brian, let's go to that beginning part again. Okay.
Yeah.
I like to break down these verses a little bit. I think this is important.
I
Break it
love it.
down.
I had some cool thoughts on it as well. So it goes, "Therefore, let us be grateful for receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken."
Kingdom that cannot be shaken. So what I'm hearing, and you can tell me if this is what you're getting too. What I'm getting is the beyond here and now is very peaceful.
Yes, absolutely.
And if we can focus on that, focus on God, focus on good, we're going to be more at peace. This is my interpretation. What are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel that, and I feel the idea of the unshakableness is the power behind it here on earth too. So our understanding of for receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken, like we get to receive that, the gratitude and the power of this peaceful, amazing place that you can tap into. Essentially, was what I sort of got out of it when I was going into that cannot be shaken.
So therefore, what does it say?
So it says, "Therefore, let us be grateful."
So hold up. So let us be grateful. Meaning, we have a choice to be grateful or not be grateful. This is something that we've talked about quite a bit. The idea of I get to versus I have to.
Yeah,
Let me be grateful for today. How you doing, Matt? I'm happy to be alive. I'm grateful. Today is a precious gift. Today is one time. You're never gonna repeat it. What are you gonna do with today?
Yeah.
You know, are you gonna praise God? Are you gonna let yourself fall into any kind of depression? Mm-hmm. You know, so it stems from gratitude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
you
the
know,
cool
it's
thing.
interesting. You've been saying happy to be alive for a very long time. And I feel like now more than ever, people are like, oh, me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me
It's
too.
so funny because everyone thinks it's because of the pandemic. I'm like, no, it's a G
No,
thing, man.
he's been saying that.
I feel like we should rewrite the the Snoop Dogg song. I just realized, ain't nothing but a G thing, baby. But it's actually God.
Oh, I like that.
Know what I'm saying? All right.
I'll rep it. I'll rep it.
So our agent Ruth Layton, she got me this book a couple days ago called Jesus Calling.
Yeah.
It's
love
pretty
those.
pretty good. Yeah, and what's crazy is I hear the story. Joey tells me he's got a copy of this, right? You got
Yeah.
and you got it from Brian.
Yeah. Brian got it for me on my 18th birthday.
So
And
have you both read this cover to cover?
I've given it out multiple times also. Like
It's good stuff.
It's amazing, and I don't know how, but I mean I do know how. But it tends to like it's the same. You have the same one, and it just hits you right at the right moment with all the right stuff. Like,
Well, once again, it's doing it. So you're right. I'm looking at today's, and I'm going to read a little part of this since we're in the devotional spot here. It says, from God's perspective here, let me bless you with my grace and peace. Let me bless you with my peace.
yeah,
I'm going to do that for you. But you got to let me. See, that's the thing. You got to let me. If you keep getting in my way, I'm trying to bring you peace.
yeah,
Let me do it. Open your heart and mind to receive all that I have for you. Do not be ashamed of your emptiness. This is interesting. Do not be ashamed. Shame is such a thing that we all battle, right?
Yup,
The shame
yup,
of
yup.
all this stuff. So instead says, do not be ashamed of your emptiness. Instead, view it as the optimal condition for being filled with my peace. So once again, what I'm reading here is be grateful for my weaknesses. Be grateful for the thing. Instead of being shamed, I'm going to be grateful that this is an area God gets to work on in me.
yeah, yeah.
And that can
absolutely.
bring me peace, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's so hard to do because we have this impact on each other, this massive, like, we're all so connected through God that when we let ourselves get out of sync, we have this tremendous impact, whether we know it or not, on people for both positive and negative. You know, and our energies can get drained so quickly. And if we're not careful, but if we're careful, we can really help fill people up, but also make sure that we're maintaining. And this is a big part of today, that we're maintaining our root system, that we are unshakable first.
Yeah.
We got to put on your mask before you can put on everybody else's masks. Right?
Yeah, right.
Matter of fact, Brian, I know you're in that state right now, right? I mean, you just let's over exaggerate and say you just came off life support,
Yeah.
sort
yeah.
of. Okay, so talk to me about that. Like, talk to the audience about this. So you're just now getting out of the hospital, and this is a little mental adjustment I believe you've made in the last 2 days. Thanks to our buddy Paul, just helping you focus on you, which could sound like a selfish thing, but in this case, it's actually not.
Right.
Go.
Yeah. I just feel like basically I was wanting to right away get right back into helping others and doing all this other stuff. And the idea of going inward really taught me. I felt it especially yesterday. I'll talk a lot about yesterday here really quick. And the understanding of it's me going to my understanding of God fully, and exposing the fact that I like have so much that I need rest in myself. So like yesterday, there was a prideful piece of me that would want to come in and do the podcast with you guys really bad, right? The one you're doing with Paul.
Yeah.
But then like my heart led me to just go and be with you kids and it was incredible. Like just such an amazing time. And so right now, I just have to really just focus on continuing my healing of me, talking good, positive things to the kidney, talking good, positive things to myself, and creating rest. And I was like wrestling with rest. And last night I had some of the best rest I've ever had. Like I just felt like sleep. Yeah.
The crowd loves it when you sleep.
They really
love
do.
it. They love it.
They really do.
They really do.
Yeah. I was that's so funny. I was it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. No, that was my point actually. Just the
yeah.
just yeah.
Boom, yeah.
Like amen to that.
Hey,
brother.
Joanne Stafford's on there. Good morning, Joanne Stafford and Nick. Good
Yeah.
morning to the fans. We love seeing you guys on here.
Nick was saying that
Morning.
he also has that book and he opens it to a page every time it says the right thing.
Really?
Yeah. He said his mom gave it to him.
There's a
Dude,
divine
crazy.
power in that book.
Yeah.
You talking about Nick Mulata?
Yeah.
Dude, how connected are we?
Like
it's amazing.
so connected.
Nick, love you, love your mom. I never met her, love her.
Yeah, for real. For real. You hear the stories, I feel like I know her.
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I
'Cause
just
Nick and
got
I are
this
so
overwhelming
close.
like sense of Nick's mom. I just did.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I don't even mean that. Like I don't like that just came to me, and I'm not BSing. Like I do. Like it's an amazing thing. It's very cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Was
Sorry.
that it? Was that yeah?
I had something that was like to build on, and then once we laughed about the I forgot where the was leading. So really, when I said like that's my note, like guys, that's my note.
Well, let's
It's
call
just,
this. So let's call this our daily devotional time here. Okay. So when we come back, we're gonna have 3 segments coming up. So we're about to hit the commercial break, and the first segment is just gonna be what does it mean to be unshakable? We're gonna take that idea and put it into life perspective. Okay. And then we're gonna in the second segment today we're gonna talk about business. And all the challenges and the things that are going to come up in business, and how can we be unshakable in our business? And by business, by the way, you don't have to own a business. You just need to be in any form of work. And so, how can you be unshakable? Because here's the thing: like I've heard so many stories about different people and how they get attacked at their workplace. And so, we're going to talk about how to be unshakable at work. And then finally, we are the Deering Acting Studio, and Joey's the best, by the way. But he's always like, "Man, you gotta talk more about acting." I'm like, all right. So, third segment today, we are going to talk about how to be unshakable in your acting. That will also connect to presenting anytime that you are performing in any way, shape, or form. How to be unshakable in that as well. So, we will be right back.
1. Get out there. Chapter 2. Get organized. Chapter 3. Build your team. Chapter 4. Brand yourself. Chapter 5. Be a producer. Chapter 6. Run the business. Chapter 7. Be a great actor.
Let's dive right into auditioning, because I know that was the thumbnail specifically, and I'm fascinated to talk to you about this because we do casting.
Right.
I've been competing against you since I started acting, and then I made some transitions and whatnot, and you're one of the best auditioners I've ever seen ever.
Wow, that means a lot. Thanks. That's,
For real.
That's really nice to know, because you know how it is in auditioning. We get no feedback.
None.
When you audition.
Yeah.
You just throw the ball out there and you hope that somebody will catch it. Is that a good metaphor? Yeah.
I feel like you're good when you have somebody come into the casting room and then the casting director's like, hey, so if you could just do what the guy before you did. And that's happened like 4 times when you come in, where you'll do some creative move and then the next person will go in and they'll be like, when they get to direction, they'll be like, what if you just did what he just did?
Yeah. Well, you do it enough. Like you just, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
have to have a solid memory in order to put up a play. That was 100% the right choice. The moment you realize you're stuck for a sec, stop and literally take a breath.
You have to react to that from his point of view as honestly as possible.
I tried to explain.
I don't want you to think about getting through the monologue.
Let's go!
Because my job isn't to work the monologue. My job is to work on you.
It's not about how many classes are on the resume. It's about your work ethic and persistence.
Who's further along than they were when they walked in the room?
We want the world to hear this. We want this to get out. This is why we do what we do.
That felt like the most honest thing I've ever done as an actress.
It was like entering like a new world.
It was like draining and exhausting, but in a good way, you know?
It just feels so good to just feel the growth, the true growth all the way around.
We made a lot of discoveries, like lots of discoveries.
I feel like you give me permission as a coach to go all the way.
I just know what we do. It makes me so proud. And so like I want to make sure everything's perfect.
My hope is that this class opens everybody up as a person and you become a better actor in the process.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, who wants to be unshakable? Raise your hand. Everybody's raising their hand around here. Hopefully you want to be unshakable in life. That is a really good thing. So we love this analogy here, the analogy of the tree. But before we do this, let me just say something, okay? Because everyone's worried I'm going to get censored because I'm talking about God. We probably will. But here's the truth: we've been censored from the beginning. So we are the people, okay? And there's big businesses and different things. And here's how it works: they can turn up the volume and turn down the volume on whatever. So what I'm going to ask right now is, if anybody watching could do us this favor, just share the video. Share right now this live stream, and let's bring some more people in. So if you just hit the share button really quick and send this to somebody who you love and care about, that would mean a lot to us. All right, so being unshakable in life. I want to think about being a tree. And I don't mean like a new tree that you just planted. I'm talking about an old, established, big old tree. Thank you, Joey.
Yes.
All right, and
visual representation is key.
And what happens with a tree? Right? Where does a tree get its power?
From its roots.
From the roots, yeah. As why we have this podcast, Divine Roots, and a lot of what Paul teaches us and talks to us about. So a big tree has this root system that spreads really wide, like crazy far out, and the roots can be huge, right? And so the power of the tree is actually under the ground. So the issue is, in life, so we're talking about how to be unshakable in life, it all stems from the inside. It stems from your root system. And the issue that we all struggle with is trying to present an unshakableness on the outside by combing our hair a certain way and looking a certain way and having a certain clothing and, the outward look, because you can fool a lot of people.
Yeah.
You can make it look like you got it all under control when really on the inside you're hurting.
Yeah.
I've definitely been in that place for sure. I felt that through the hospitalization. I was like, I had this realization that, again, so many people talked about how oh, you've gone through so much and you're so happy, you're so whatever. But you can bury all that, and make it look like you're happy and joyful when really there's just like all this pain. And that was a big part of my discovery was going into self, like you said. realizing that that's the case, and that there's so much there that it's okay to express stuff, you know.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I was just gonna say it goes back to this idea of, like you said, the power is in the roots. The roots are underground. It's within, right? It's what people can't see that is the power, right? So that's the power within us too. That's why the tree comparison is so strong to us as human beings. Is we're both God's creation, but the real power we have within is unseen. It's intangible. Like nobody, you can't put a weight to it. It's like our soul when somebody passes away. You go to a funeral, the body's not the same.
Right.
Whether it's open casket, closed casket, whatever, you can tell that the soul has left the person. And nobody can put like a thumb on like, oh yeah, this is why. Like you can just see it. It's like a lifeless body, and it's beautiful. But at the same time, it's like,
You
wow.
just hold on. I had to interrupt you. You just said something that we got to be careful and not go into detail here. But you just said something that reminded me of a conversation we had last night. Where so Joey's walking the hallway of a store, and he saw somebody's eyes, and he described it last night as a lifeless body.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it was scary.
you can be lifeless while still having a moving body, and this is like darkness, right? And you just saw, like, you looked in this person's eyes, and it was like you just said it was evil, right?
Yeah. They had like everybody's masked up in the store. That's normal now, but they had like a bandana, they had their hood up, and then they had a bandana mask. So it was just their eyes, and it was like a black hole.
And it's not the clothing.
No,
it's not the clothing. It's the eyes, right?
Yeah.
The eyes, they tell you a story. I told Joey a similar experience I had in New York when my mom was visiting, and we went to a show, and it was really late, and we got ourselves a little turned around. We were a little lost. I hadn't lived there for very long, and so we were trying to navigate our way home, and we're like, oh, it'd be fun, let's take the subway. Well, it was late. It was like 1 a.m, and we were gonna pick up the last subway. There was nobody down there, and these guys came down, and I mean, the Holy Spirit was talking to me. I could tell these guys wanted to jump us. There was three guys, and so I just sort of told my mom, like, hey, stick by my side here. We're being watched, and I could just tell. I could just tell, and I just saw them kind of like hovering, these guys. And so we go up to the subway, and I go to walk on the subway. I put a foot in, and then I grab my mom and I pull her back, and the guys got on. Like, they watched us. They watched the whole time. They got on the 2 doors down, and then the door shut. These guys were walking toward our door. We didn't get on. I made eye contact with them, and they were coming down to get us, and they just turned and just looked at us, and they just sort of went away. And I was like literally, God protected us at that moment.
Yeah.
But here's the key, right? It comes back to your Bible verse where it says, God says, let me work in you. So God's there, but are we letting him? Are we listening and letting him work through us?
And it goes back to, he gave us free will. So it's our choice.
Yeah.
He's always going to be there. He's around us. He's in all of us. He created the world, right? But he gave us free will. He's like, if you choose to walk this other path, I don't recommend it. It's not what's best for you, but you're okay to do that. You can do that. You can make that choice for yourself.
Yeah. So how do we be? How can we be unshakable here in the life circumstances when it's messy? Life is messy, right? It just is. There's no other way around it. And I believe. Again, coming back to your verse here, Brian, I believe it comes back to gratitude. Gratitude is the key to being peaceful.
Yeah.
And I personally believe that God says, if with a grateful heart, you get to see all that I'm doing through my eyes instead of through your eyes. Right? It's sort of like what's something messy, okay? Like gross and messy would be, let's just say, a baby's poop diaper.
Yeah.
Okay, it would be disgusting, poop, right? Puke. But to a mother and father, the infant and the baby, and like they don't see the mess. They honestly, there's a time when like the baby needs to have that happen. A bowel movement is like an important part of an infant's life, and so they're like, oh yes, like we pass. So like we celebrate. And the infant at the time doesn't know anything but trust, anything, like they're not worried about it, right? But then at a certain point, then you start worrying about the mess, but not realizing that, like, oh, no, like the mess is a part of the process. Like the mess, it has to happen.
Yeah.
You know, you just got to be grateful that I'm willing to change your diaper all the time.
Right, yeah. New episode, the mess is a part of the process.
Ooh, I like that.
I'm thinking another one, diaper changes. 101.
All right, here we go. Change the diaper. So, you know, and maybe you guys have something in your life that we can tap into. If not, no big deal. But right now with me, you know, we've got. Of course, there's all the stuff out there in the landscape. But I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about like just your life, like right in your living room. Here's what I got going on. We thought we had a slab leak. We're not sure now. It looks like it's not a slab leak. It's some other kind of leak. But there was water coming out of the floor in my kitchen, right? So I come home, and my wife keeps like, she kept coming in and wanting me to be, she wanted me to be shaken. I can tell you that. But I didn't have time yesterday. I was just too grateful. And I just said, babe, I love you. I love you. I love you. I got to teach these classes. I love you so much. Just,
I got to teach these classes.
Just stay focused. Thank you guys, by the way, for coming so I could be unshakable. No, so anyway, I wasn't there. There's a restoration company at our house, and so I go home last night, and everyone's asleep, and I was like, whoa, look at this. This is my kitchen.
Oh man.
Like everything's been pulled out. The floor's gone.
Crazy.
The counters are gone. The cabinets are gone. Like they had to pull it all out. You know, and I'm sure the process was messy. It was messy, you know, and now it's clean, but it's still like gone, right? And you can see the roots, like you can see the framework of what's underneath the counter, the stuff you never see, the wood planks, and you're like, whoa, like that's what's under there. And here's the issue, right? If we look the other way for a couple months and we just didn't take care of the mess, the root of the mess, because we could just wipe up the floor. We could just take a rag and wipe up the mess, but that's the surface. You got to get down to the root.
Yeah.
So now there's these big industrial fans, and they're drying the root so it doesn't keep spreading and ruining the whole floor, and then becoming a bigger mess.
Yeah.
Right. And so the key then is during the cleanup process that is uncomfortable, to be grateful through it. Because it's hard right now, you know. It's like it's 2021 and we just got out of 2020 and you know, and we don't have all this much money and we feeling all like insecure and we all blah blah blah, and then you're going like I don't have more money to spend, and you just want to worry.
Yeah.
But instead of worrying, it's focusing on gratitude, and gratitude puts it through the lens of the father or the mother looking down at their child and saying, oh, I don't care about the mess. The mess is gonna get taken care of. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. And I think you know, the last note we have here on this is the strength of having like-minded individuals around you.
Yeah.
Right? So whether that be classmates, family, friends, whatever, you know, if you have somebody who has the same mindset as you, similar values that you can go to for consult, it changes your whole life's trajectory. And that's what I found here through you and through Brian, right? And is that like-minded, you know, I get to learn from you. You don't get to learn from me right away, but you will one day, right?
I'm already learning from you. But let me tell you this. I also believe, Joey, that we have clawed and scratched and sacrificed, and we didn't know what we didn't know, but we were fighting for something that was intangible. You couldn't see it. We're now at a new frequency, the three of us. It's different than it was.
Yeah.
We were fighting, and we were on surface, really showing everybody kind of what, like, we're focused on where we wanted to be, but we're at the same time honest with the process, going like, it's messy right now, you know? Like, I would come on the show and be like, well, Joey and I've been fighting all day, you know?
Yeah.
Because we weren't trying to lie about it. We're like, this is the truth, you know? But now we're in this place, and so it's great because we want to spread this frequency and help people realize that there's a movement happening, sort of an enlightenment of sorts, and we can wake up. Like, we can wake up and move forward and decide to be more grateful, more connected, not less.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a great point.
All right, so we're going to go on another break here. Before we do, however, I think it's time for a little, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know.
It's time now for Brian Sweeney's Shameless Plugs.
Shameless plug. Up and down. I just realized acting is my day job, guys. 7 strategies to market and make money as an actor by Mr. Matthew Deering over here.
Dude, so we had just a few, like, we had a spike in viewership right as Shameless Plugs comes on.
I mean, it's a great song. It's a great song, and even better book, guys. That's probably what it is. Everybody just gets really excited about the book. They just want to get it. They can get it on Amazon, and they can get it for so many people and just pass it around. Just give it as a gift and have it because it's the best.
It's a good book.
It's a handbook for life.
Handbook for life.
So when we come back, we're going to hit up being unshakable in business. And business being whatever work you do. If you own a business, if you're in a business, if you work in any type of company, even school. School might be your business right now. How to be unshakable in business. We're going to talk about that right after.
Well, minutes of your time, I got a few things I'd like to talk to you about.
It was a way for us to get more comfortable listening to each other.
We're gonna go back and be more confident than ever.
We teach self-development, and we use acting to do that.
Did you always have a performer inside you?
It was something that I knew I wanted to do for the rest of my life, and I knew this was my thing.
You stress that in that book, that you have to have a plan every day and follow that plan. It's strikingly similar to the same things we talked about in business.
We had a really good time. The staff is amazing. We had some great group activities, learned a lot about ourselves individually, so highly recommend coming here.
Nothing I'm going to tell you is going to be revolutionary because it's just the truth. Anybody who speaks the truth, period. Because the plane's taking off every day. That's what I've decided. The plane of success is taking off, and I don't want to miss my flight.
I was going to talk about how I have used improv in engineering and in my work. What I learned from you is get out of your head. This class and the studio has made such a huge positive impact on my life, and I cannot thank you enough.
We're trying to help you work on you.
So today at Deering Studios, you're gonna learn how to be confident, how to have a voice, and use your voice.
What I love most about Jada coming to this place and being able to be a part of this family is that it just makes her more comfortable in her skin.
Good to go whenever.
All right, welcome back. We're talking about being unshakable. We're going to jump right into how to be unshakable in business, and this means any kind of work. And so, and this is huge because we are at work probably 60 to 80% of our day, 60 to 80% of our week.
Yeah.
Right. So work is a big part of life. And so to be unshakable in that place, right? That's right. To be unshakable at work is a very important thing.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of disruption that happens in the workplace, and there's a lot of head game that's involved, right? And so this past year is a great example because everybody, I don't care who you are, unless you're one of the big ones that I don't want to talk about right now. Unless you're one of those, you were pretty impacted this past year.
Yeah.
And you were faced with a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty, and the question is how are you going to manage it when that type of thing happens? And hopefully, for all of us, this last year was what Paul calls training. It was a workout.
Yeah.
Because like it made me laugh so hard when everyone, people like LeBron James, but way back in like June was like, see you later 2020. And I'm like, dude, you got 6 months left. Number one.
Bro said that
I
before
quit.
he
I'm
won
done.
a championship in 2020. Like, what?
It's like, I'm done with this.
And so it's like A, don't dismiss the year, but B, it's not like you turn 2021 and just magically, there you go.
No.
Like it's not like it doesn't work like that. So there's this mess of 2020. But what did it teach us? And are we stronger now? Were we training during that time so that we can move forward with a new perspective? And that's what we're talking about with the new frequency, right?
Yeah.
As a business owner, for me personally, I was looking for ways to be refined. I was asking questions, looking for where are we weak right now? Because going back to the roots here, what's the most important part of any business is the root system.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it caused me to look at all the fluff, and I'm still evaluating that. Like, what is the fluff and what is the stuff that's core? That's the roots of this business. Because at the end of the day, a business is it's designed, the whole purpose of a business is to make money and provide value.
And I'm just gonna take the floor from you really quick.
Yeah, do that.
Because 2020 is what brought us this. I'm just throwing that out there for the people on here that are new and the people on here who have been here since the very first episode. Without 2020, this doesn't happen.
That's right.
This doesn't happen. We're not called to do this thing. So there are good things that come from it. This is a highlight of my day every single day, and it helps a lot of people. I truly believe that.
Well, I can talk. There was a lot of refinement that I had through this, in even just like the chord process when you guys were going through that. Like, seriously though, like as an again employee, like coming into this idea of you guys, like I didn't understand why you were doing all the little things that you were doing, and it would frustrate me, and I would get so mad about it. And in that, like, everything would continue to change, and it felt like we were like behind, but I would never speak on it or do anything about it, and I wasn't trusting in the leadership. I wasn't trusting in that you were figuring out all the little things to understand all the stuff that's leading us to where we are now. And so, like,
okay, and that goes into then the employee, or let's just say that the leader, and then the people that are under the leader. Okay, rather than saying boss employee, let's just say it that way, because some people are called to be in a leadership role. And I believe the people who are doing it right are looking to be led by the people that are following, like looking to make best decision to the best of their ability, and looking at all the facts, listening to all the information. So a good leader, and I hope to be one, is going to ask, is going to want the critique, but not the judgment. There's two, right? That's different.
Right.
So I would going back to this, it's interesting. They say that the most profound thing, the most profound concept, it can't be profound unless it's simple. Right? So look at the setup we have now. We're talking about the chords, right? We had set it up, even in this room, we've already set up 3 times, but the idea was, can it be done with less? Can we use less lights? Can we use less chords? Can we refine it down to simpler? Because simpler is more profound, right?
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is, rather than you seeing it and being like, upset about it, it's thanks, Joey. I don't think anybody can see it actually.
It says Matt is a great leader.
That was cute. But what I believe, and this is coming from the let's just call it the employee position, question from love.
Yeah.
Like, and just you observe and you see, and then you go, hey, okay, let me ask you this question. And when you did this for me, Brian, and I've talked about this many times, but now's a good time, because when we've many times in this company, it's been the case where we get pushed against the wall. We got to make choices, and I've had to do that a few times. And you put your chips in, and you go, okay, we're going, we're all in, right?
Everybody got choices.
And there was a time when the company had to borrow a bunch of money from me personally, and the company still hasn't paid me back fully for that thing, but there was money sort of owed to me. And there was a time when I was like, I've been driving this car that I just wanted a new car. I just wanted it. That's the truth. I just wanted it. I didn't need it. I wanted it. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was trying to kind of talk to everybody about it. And honestly, I was getting affirmations. But to my credit, I didn't only go to the people that I knew were going to give me affirmations. So I came to you and I said, hey, what do you think about this? And you know what you did? I don't know if you remember. Do you remember how you reacted?
I don't remember, no, the exact reaction.
You didn't say don't buy the car. Here's what Brian did, sneaky Brian. You questioned me.
Oh.
What do
you think? Like, do you think that we can afford it? Do you think that the business is in a good place? Because if you do, I trust. Like, I'm not going to abuse that kind of trust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For some reason, all right, I'll just explain what just happened for a second. So we use a USB capture HDMI. I have my cord plugged in.
Are we back?
Yeah, we are back.
Cool. We don't need the details.
All right.
It was an unplug replug deal.
Yeah.
All right.
So sorry you lost us. That was a great point. I want you guys to continue.
Joey. Also, here's the deal. What was that? 10 seconds.
That was
technical
so
difficulty?
fast.
That was well done.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Thanks.
So where was I? Where was I here?
You were just talking about the questioning.
The questioning, right. So what you did was you posed the question, which pushed me into a deeper state of really seeing. Because if I looked at it and I go, you know what, it is safe. And I looked at it and I was like, we could do this, but it also puts me in a position where I feel uncomfortable. And that money that I've got in there, sure, it's mine, or it's God's, but it's like, it's there, but like, maybe need it for a rainy day. Guess what? Within like 8 months of that conversation, pandemic hit. And I had that money that I would have spent in a savings account and needed it. We needed every ounce of that because all of a sudden, all of our clients were like, "Boosh,"
Yeah.
They all got scared. And then this happened to most of the small businesses. Like, it just went, "Boosh." And And I remember just being grateful, and how many times I've said thank you to you. But you see, you questioned from love.
Yeah.
You weren't judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't make me feel shame. You didn't come in and get upset. You just questioned from love. Like, let me question back to you.
Yeah.
And it was like good, like in a good way. It was refining.
Yeah.
And I think that's the relationship you want to strive for
Mm-hmm.
as a leader or a boss, and as an employee and somebody who's dedicated, that's going to push a vision forward, because that's really your job. You know, we all have these like different roles to play in order to be a great team.
Mm-hmm.
And understand, you need people at the different positions. Not everybody can be the commander.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And you need people on the front lines. You need people over here. You need people over here. And people have different God-given strengths and gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And to fall into the role and then do your role to the best of your ability, it creates this synergy that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're right. Like, this show literally doesn't exist without the struggle of 2020. But that was our reaction to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was our decision. I sat you guys down. I prayed, actually. You go back on our Instagram. I put up a few Instagram posts. You can see in my eyes that I'm scared.
Yeah.
But I'm putting out love, putting out love, putting out love. And we sat down, and I was like, this is what I'm feeling. We just got to give. We got to 10x our giving, because if we're feeling uncomfortable, I bet you anything other people are feeling even more uncomfortable.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then freaking Brian, just with the slam dunk, goes back to roles. He's had this idea for so long for you to go on air and
Right.
talk to people. And he was like, dude, we just got to start a show, man. And you and I were like, yeah,
Sure, Brian.
yeah. Teacher Brian,
Whatever.
like,
Okay,
doesn't
fine.
understand the tech. Like, it's a lot harder than you think it is. And he's like, no, for real. And, you know, it's been a process. Every single episode, you know, there's been, it's a graph. It's a line graph. It goes up and down, up and down. This season totally feels different.
Yeah.
And it's because of that newfound hard-fought energy from 2020.
Yeah.
From that, you know. So me personally, I'm grateful for it, because I love this show. I love all the refining we've all had throughout the year. And it's a blessing when we realize, oh my gosh, like, through the hardship, I got stronger.
Yeah.
Through the hardship, I am teaching now. That's crazy, you know.
Amazing.
And I think
you're doing
that-
a great job, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank
you. That's where we really find, too, your biggest strength is when you understand your role, you'll find joy in it more than trying to, like, me be your role or whatever.
Right.
Like, when you just fall into where you're meant to be, you'll actually be way more joyful. And the product of what's happening, like you said, will be more synergy and more strength. But you'll also feel that inside.
Gosh, I wish I had the button from his Monday motivation. Full of joy, buddy.
Full of joy, buddy.
Full of joy, buddy.
So this will probably come up at every segment. I think it has to. But if you approach the mess in business from gratitude, from a place of gratitude,
Yeah.
then you see the field differently. You see things in a new way.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the mess, because what does the mess do? What does the uncomfortableness do? What does the obstacle do? It exposes for you. It turns on a light so you can see where you're weak.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get to work on it, and that's like an exciting thing.
Yeah.
You know, to be at work, to be in progress, to be, you know, getting better. That's the joy of life. That's the juice. And everyone wants to be comfortable. Comfortable is an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
It's an illusion. That was the title. We're gonna do another show. Okay.
It's an illusion?
No, something else. I got you.
Okay. Facts.
I'm like,
facts.
you came to me fine. Okay, so I want to end here, okay, on this segment, and it's this. There was a really great guy, incredible businessman named Bob Parsons, and he owns a bunch of companies now, but he's a huge giver. And Leanne, my wife, got very close to Bob at one point. They were working together, and I would watch the videos because Leanne was in the video with him, and I would always tune in, and I loved them because they were business videos. They were funny, but they were business related. And I remember something he said. It was very, very interesting. Is like, and this is sort of like paradoxical a bit, but the idea is, number one, there's going to be trends. right? There's going to be a trendy thing. Don't get distracted by that. So I imagine like kids on a soccer field, and a bunch of kids, they're all following the ball. You don't want to be one of those kids, because think about like a really good soccer team knows how to play their positions, right? They know how to spread out, and they pass the ball, and you can get so much more done. You can cover so much more field, but everyone wants to go like, oh, follow the ball. So we've done things like that in a lot of companies where sometimes we get stuck following the ball, thinking like, what's the easy way? Let me jump on that, and then all of a sudden you're distracted. So how many social media platforms are there?
There's like 20.
And so all of a sudden you feel guilty. You're like, well, but what if I'm not on this one? What if I'm not on that? Well, there's opportunities on that one. And then you're like spread across the board.
Yeah.
Instead of getting good at one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then watching what's happening right now. I mean, things change. It's the way it is.
Yeah.
You know, AOL used to be a thing, and
how's
now it's not a
MySpace
thing.
doing? Yeah.
Right.
How's MySpace doing?
So
it's not MySpace anymore.
So to say that like Google could go down, like of course it could.
Yeah. Yeah.
YouTube, of course it could. So you can't put all your marble, everything into one basket, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't want to get distracted by all the new flashy things.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then the other thing was, and when it comes to this root system, and this is something that Bob said, was to pay attention and be willing to move, to change, to adapt. Okay? And so what it is it's you don't make you don't just move with everything. You're not always moving all over the place.
Yep.
But when you decide to move, you are decisive, and you go fast, and you rip the Band-Aid. So like once you've decided, it's like now we go, and we go full force, and that's really important.
Yep. And it goes back to the tree.
Yes, exactly.
It goes back to the tree. Where do the roots grow? The roots grow where the water's going, and the roots grow where it's the safest for it to get bigger.
Yeah.
Every storm, every wind, everything does not make the tree move. Some of them do, not all of them, right?
Yeah, 100%. And some of the trees, let's just call the businesses trees. Some of the trees in this past season, they looked like they were strong on the outside, but they didn't have strong root systems, and they've been uprooted.
Yeah.
And some big names are now out of business. Right? Like that's happened, and it will continue to, that is always going to happen. So we want to focus as a business and going, always be aware of your roots. Always go back to like, what is the core? Where am I drawing my water from? That's a really good way of looking at it, Joey.
Thanks.
He's smart, you know that?
He's so smart.
All right, so we're going to come back, and then we're going to talk about acting. We're going to talk about how this idea of being unshakable is going to impact your acting. It's going to be a quick segment here at the end, give you a little takeaway.
1. Get out there. Chapter 2. Get organized. Chapter 3. Build your team. Chapter 4. Brand yourself. Chapter 5. Be a producer. Chapter 6. Run the business. Chapter 7. Be a great actor.
Let's dive right into auditioning, because I know that was the thumbnail specifically, and I'm fascinated to talk to you about this because we do casting.
Right.
I've been competing against you since I started acting, and then I made some transitions and whatnot, and you're one of the best auditioners I've ever seen ever.
Wow, that means a lot. Thanks. That's really nice to know, because you know how it is in auditioning. We get no feedback.
None.
No audition.
Yeah.
You just throw the ball out there and you hope that somebody will catch it. Is that a good metaphor? Yeah.
I feel like you know you're good when you have somebody come into the casting room, and then the casting director's like, hey, so if you could just do what the guy before you did. And that's happened like 4 times when you come in, where you'll do some creative move, and then the next person will go in and they'll be like, when they get to direction, they'll be like, what if you just did what he just did?
Yeah, well, you do it enough, like you just thank you. I appreciate it.
have to have a solid memory in order to put up a play.
That was 100% the right choice. The moment you realize you're stuck for a sec, stop and literally take a breath. You have to react to that from his point of view as honestly as possible.
1, 2, 3.
I tried to explain.
I don't want you to think about getting through the monologue. Yes.
Let's go!
Because my job isn't to work the monologue. My job is to work on you. It's not about how many classes are on the resume. It's about your work ethic and persistence. Who's further along than they were when they walked in the ring? We want the world to hear this. We want this to get out. This is why we do what we do.
That felt like the most honest thing I've ever done as an actress.
It was like entering like a new world.
It was like draining and exhausting, but in a good way, you know?
It just feels so good to just feel the growth, the true growth all the way around.
We made a lot of discoveries. Yeah. Like lots of discoveries.
I feel like you give me permission as a coach to go all the way.
I just know what we do. It makes me so proud. And so like I want to make sure everything's perfect.
My hope is that this class opens everybody up as a person and you become a better actor in the process.
All right, so we are talking about being unshakable. We've hit being unshakable in life. We've hit being unshakable in business. Now we're going to talk about being unshakable in acting or in presenting, which all of life is a presentation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is why we're able to do what we do. Right on our website, we say, we are connecting life and acting, right? We want you to master your life through the craft of acting. And yes, we work with famous people. Yes, we train at a high level. But it's so not about that for us. You have to come here and experience it to know what we're talking about. But we kind of don't care if you land an acting job. We're happy for you.
Yeah.
But we really want to impact your life. We want you to be more confident and be able to use the skills here in all that you do.
Yeah, it's interesting. On the way out last night, I was talking to JD, who's one of our newer students.
I love
been there
JD.
for like 3 months. Me too.
JD's
me too.
legit.
He's so awesome.
And people were saying like, "Well done tonight," all that, and he was like, "I just don't think like I'm good. Like I don't think I'm funny yet. Like I go up there and I kind of black out."
You know, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something controversial.
Go ahead.
He's not good. He's not.
Yeah.
He is in process, and if he can stick with it, he's going to be great.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
so I'm actually very excited about the fact that he doesn't think he's good.
Yeah.
And as long as he's not beating himself up.
Yeah.
Because I can see like 4 things that are just going to take a little bit of time for the light bulb to go off. But he's like your mom. He has these instincts. He has these moments where I'm like, that could have been so great. You just didn't know what to do with it. So you got yourself there, but then kind of got stuck.
Yeah. And what I was sharing with him is because I was in the room for his play, and same as you just said, I was like, your scene was funny, not because like it was super witty or like certain lines you said. No, what was funny about it is you understand now. I feel like the power that comes from not acting, even though that's what it says on the outside of our building. It's, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to be myself on stage, a heightened version of myself one way or the other, but I'm being real, my emotions, me reacting as myself. That's what's funny about watching him on stage, is because it's just a heightened version of him, one way or the other.
He's delightful to watch on stage.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hope JD's watching right now, and let's go into being unshakable and acting, and let's use JD here.
Ooh.
Okay, so I remember that I'm the one that answered the phone when JD called.
Sick.
I remember this.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a dentist. He runs, I don't know if it's a couple dentist office, but at least one. And his initial purpose was he wanted to become more comfortable in communicating and in leading teams of people.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, would this help me? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
You came to the right place. And then I remember telling him, and I tell everybody this, I'm like, you come for this, you're probably going to get more than you think, and then you're probably going to become addicted to it because you're going to grow as a human being like crazy. And he's like, all right, let me try it.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed up, and our community, as it does, welcomed him in immediately because he's a right fit, because that's his mindset wants to be here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you become unshakable, is you got to start from a root system of what are you trying to get.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get attention, you're trying to be good, you're trying to, whatever, that's when you get yourself off.
Yeah.
So going back to now, why I said, and that's the controversial thing, right? I can say things and people are like, whoa, you just said that. I literally just said, I've complimented him, right? A lot of my words were compliments, but one word was I said, he's not good yet.
Yeah.
And that's not an insult.
Not at all. No.
That is a skill set that I'm realizing that much like if let's just say he trained me for 5 months in dentistry. Okay, I might know how to do one thing or a couple things. Okay, I might be able to look like a dentist, but he'd probably be like, he's not good yet.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
He needs some time.
And the key is the word yet. That's why
Right.
it's not an insult.
Right.
It's hey, I see the potential. I see your drive. I see where your goals are. You're not there yet. There is a light bulb that you will switch on, and it's coming soon, man. But you're not there yet. It's not a compliment. It's a you're on the right path right now.
Yeah.
And I love
don't give up.
That don't give up moment. Like that goes into the unshakable. That's because there will hit there, and most likely a point where you may get frustrated with yourself because you're not like receiving, if you're not rooted in the right things, what you wanted or expected or whatever, or it's like really hard. And at that spot, like you're gonna feel this moment where like you have to remember it's about the process.
Yeah.
Right. And we see this a lot in acting and auditioning, because people come in and you like audition over and over and over and over, and it can feel like if you're not rooted in the right thing, like you're being rejected or things aren't going the way you expected. Right.
100%. And why, as an instructor, why are you even in the room? What's your purpose for being in the room?
Yeah.
Your purpose is to help people refine. It's to question them or to critique them from love. You got to do it from love. And sometimes you'll say something and you meant it from love, but you see it didn't land the right way. That's why it's such a difficult job to be able to look at somebody and see not let's just take one of you guys. Not how does Matt say it, but how do I say it to this person in this moment to give them what they need right now.
And that's a big growth moment for us, Brian and I, and any teacher or employee that's ever been here. That you try to hammer in and it takes forever, and I speak from experience, is this idea of you don't want us to teach like you.
Right.
You don't want us to teach the same as you. We have to teach from who we are, right? That's the difference. Because I didn't want to teach, guys. I'm talking straight to the audience. I didn't want to teach. I wouldn't teach. Scared of it. Didn't think I was good at it. Didn't want to dive into that, right? Circumstances hit. Ended up having to teach. And then it became a want to, not a have to, immediately. And because, all of the time, all the pushback I gave Matt on that thing of like, well, no, like you're the master coach. Like I'm going to teach exactly what you teach, and then I'm going to have a successful class. Like, no. What I do is I hop on the virtual screen with virtual sunglasses on, and I'm like, what up, kids? What up, kids?
And I've said this too. When you're you, both of you or whoever in the past, when you're you, but coming from the core values of our studio, what we stand for, but you're you, you're better than me.
Yeah.
In whatever way. And I'm better than you in whatever way. But it's irrelevant because you're coming from your core, you're coming from your root system. And the truth is, when I've watched the kids sometimes, and I've seen the virtual, and I've watched you do your thing, and I realize they don't want me anymore. They don't. Why would they?
Right. Yeah.
They got Joey. Seriously. And they're getting the information. They might, maybe they'll want me for a minute. Maybe they're going to want me to come in and push in a certain way. But then they're like, you know what? As long as I can get it, I'd rather have the kids with the sunglasses. You know?
Yeah, that kid is so cool.
I still can't figure out how to put sunglasses on myself.
I have no idea. I've tried like a couple times and still haven't been able to figure it out.
It's so funny watching the kids just manhandle me.
Yeah, they're so good.
So going back to this idea of so we're here in the acting thing, okay? And here's another thing as a student, okay? You got to be careful, and you got to make sure that your roots are correct, okay? And this is where, so I'm going to hit this JD thing, and then I'm going to come back to a kid. I'm not going to use his name, but somebody that's in our teen class. A cool story. So going back to JD. So what is right now, I'm just going to say, JD, if you're watching, you're the number one thing, okay? And what it is not trusting your ideas, not trusting your scene partner, and allowing nerves to take over and have you try to fill the space with sound. So it's like he'll say something, a really great idea. Let's just say, I think last night he said something like, "You're nervous," right? So he's like, "You're nervous? Well, you look nervous. Oh, there's a lot of nerves." And then he keeps talking, keeps filling the space with breath and sound, thinking that every second needs to be filled, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
And so that's the idea of relaxing into the scene, finding the really good idea, waiting, and then being very, very insistent upon listening.
Yeah, you've always described it to me as just like this game of tennis. Like, and imagine like if somebody had just a bunch of tennis balls and they just kept hitting at you over and over and over and over, you wouldn't be able to handle it.
Right.
Like, it'd be too much to receive.
And bro, I feel you. I used to do that all the time. Bad habit that I had to break.
Yeah.
Bad habit.
So there's this kid, and he's in the teen program now, but he was in Valleywood, and he had come like a long time ago too. So he's been kind of in and out, and I believe that there's been, you know, ups and downs in family life and different things that are, you know, unrelated. But anyway, in this last Valleywood, there was a moment, and one of our counselors was like, "Man, this kid's just like, oh, he's tough." And I was like, all right, I'll talk to him. And I sit down, and there is a lot going on in life and this and that, but really it came down to, you know, he wished he had a bigger part. And it wasn't about him being selfish though. So that's what was told to me, like that, hey, he's selfish, you know, he wants a bigger part. I listened to it, and I was like, okay. And then brought him, I talked to him, we got his head right. Brought him on set when it was his turn to go. The kid's talented. He was realizing that his talent was overlooked.
Yeah.
And truthfully, if I knew his talent, I'd have given him a bigger part. I would have.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't recognize the talent because we weren't spending time together. And I talked to him, and I just said, you know, it's up to you, but get involved. I see your talent. And I told him flat out, had I known how good you were, you'd have gotten a bigger part. And everybody else wanted me to be mad at him because he was disruptive. And I was like, I'm not going to get mad at this kid.
Yeah.
If he's acting out, we said yesterday, if he's acting out, he needs more love. So I give him more love, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, he's in the program. And I noticed yesterday, he's in the back, like farthest away in the room. Okay. And we're doing an exercise, and he goes up. And you know what? He's talented. This kid, he gets up. He was great. He was great. And yet there were lots of places I could have refined him, but I didn't really have time last night. Because, I mean, our in-person program is blown up.
Yeah.
You know?
Great energy last night.
Unbelievable. And so here's this listening thing. Here's the roots of things. Because all these teenagers are here and they're feeling all the feels of this life, of this world, of this like going virtual, coming back in person and doing this. And then there's a pandemic and then there's and then
what do we do now?
And they're like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Do I cover up? Do I protest? Do I not protest? Do I say this? I mean, it's tough. Okay.
Yeah.
And everyone, they come here and they need this day when they come to class to just kind of like not have to be in that world for a minute.
Yeah.
That's a part of what we're doing for these kids. But the other part is the actual skill. And so I watch this kid go up and I'm okay, cool. And then I'm leaving and I see him in the corner of my eye. He's in the back of the room. Everybody's left. I go up to him. I was like, hey. He was like, hey. And I was like, you know, you're very talented. He goes, thanks. I said, from now on, I want you to sit as close as you can to my desk. And he just looked at me like, okay. And I said, because you need to get on stage more. He's like, okay. And I said, and from now on, I'm going to be harder on you. And he's like, yes. Yes. And I was like, hey, which means I'm not going to treat you like everybody else. Just so you know, because you're talented, I'm going to be harder on you. But we're making a contract up front so you know what I'm doing. Not picking on you. I'm going to help you by somebody else might do what you do, and I'll compliment them because for them it's a win. For you, it's not. So I need to help you because you're already talented to get more talented. That's my job. And he goes, thank you.
Wow.
And then I left the room.
Dang.
Mic drop.
Yeah, for real.
That's the roots. That's the idea. So when you're in your acting, you want to get to a place where you get on the stage and you are open, you are listening, you are connected to the room. If you're, and I see this all the time, and I joke about it in different ways, but if you keep checking with me and you care about what I think, there's no way you're in the scene. It happened last night with a couple actors. You keep wanting to know what I think of you. You got to be in, you got to be listening, and then you got to, instead of like being curious if I like it, you should be curious if there's a way that the teacher, whoever it is, can help you get better. You want the critique. I wanted for real for Brian to stop me from buying the car. I didn't want it. I mean,
yeah, right.
Like I wanted the car, but I wanted the truth.
Yeah.
I wanted to be challenged in my thinking, or else I wouldn't be asking.
Yeah.
Right? So, think of yourself as an actor, as a performer, as somebody who's presenting, to breathe, to ground yourself, to root yourself into the stage, into the space. I've noticed the two of you now. I told you we've all risen up. You are at a new place where you're rooted into the show. And even Brian, the last 3 days, you've become more and more rooted.
Yeah, big
right?
time.
And that's what's being present. That's the idea of what that means. See, we were, Joey and I were joking about having a segment of like, what's Brian thinking? Because you space out all the time.
Can't do it anymore.
You can't do it.
Nope.
Yeah.
Because you're there, you're listening. I couldn't go to you half the time before.
Right. Yeah.
I'd want to go to you and I'd look at you and you're like, you know,
literally just like in my own world. Yeah.
And
right.
I'm so happy that you found that, right? Because the segment would have been hilarious. It really would have been.
It really would have been.
It was going to be you.
But it would have been a dried out segment over time, right?
Yeah. It would have been like, all right, when's this guy going to learn his lesson?
Right.
And we even talked about that. We were like, cool, that'll be funny. That'll be cool. Can't use it every show. It'll get really old.
So this could be like, what was Brian thinking? We'll go back to old material.
Yeah, there you go.
And then you can join us. And you'd be like, I was thinking about frogs.
Ooh, I like that.
Hilarious. So ground yourself. Be that tree on stage. Be that, you know, we're sitting. You know, you want to root yourself. Drink from the truth, the stuff that can't be seen. That's the work. That's the preparation. I always say you get praised in the light for what you do in the dark. And people, you look at them and you're like, oh, they're so good. They're so good. You're only looking at the leaves. You're not seeing all the stuff that's happening underneath, what they're really doing. And instead of focusing on the leaves and trying to be like them and trying to put up a post like them and trying to do the thing like them, instead go, gosh, they must work really hard. They've got a really good root system. I'm going to go to that. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
check that out.
facts.
And think to yourself, I want the Wheaties they're eating. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it comes from the centeredness, from the work, from the being prepared before you hit the stage.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, everybody, that is our show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget, right now, you just want to be unshakable. You want to find this place inside you to go to your root system, become unshakable as different distractions, obstacles, as life, as this world will continue to hit you. You want to be firm and solid as a foundation. So your branches can move, but your core is going to stay unshakable. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.
Have a chippy day, everyone. Rough.